Hello class, this is Mr. Miller and I'm giving you a screencast of the Unit 2 review PowerPoint. This is probably best for my auditory and visual learners because it has the auditory and the visual. You can look at this in class or you can look at this at home when you're reviewing for the test. Alright, and just remember we're going through this. This goes along with your study guide. So let's go ahead and get started with the Unit 2 test review PowerPoint screencast, first edition. All right, so the first thing we need to know from the Unit 1-2 test is the Gupta Empire. All right, Gupta Empire, if you look right here, is in current day India. All right, you have the Indian Ocean right here, the Indian Ocean right here, and the Arabian Sea right here. You have the Himalaya Mountains as part of the geography. All right, so one of the big things we have to understand really with the Gupta Empire and this big empire, which is all the orange area, is that they created a centralized government. All right, by centralized government, that's saying that, hey, this one person is kind of controlling most of the things. So think about like ancient Rome, think about the Byzantine Empire. They all had centralized governments, which means all the power is in the center. All right. Now, at the same time, they also had local control. All right, so they had centralized government, but sometimes they had villages and villagers with councils and elders who had some local control. So it was a mixed bag. So think of this kind of like our president. We have a president who's in control over the big government. We also have mayors who are in control over smaller city governments, like mayors and governors. All right, the government was based on Hindu teachings and Buddhist teachings, which we're going to review over later in the program. But just to have a better understanding, a good understanding of just like all the achievements that they were able to do. All right, so they were able to do plastic surgery, for instance, in this field of medicine. They performed C-sections for pregnancies. Along with that, they also created the concept of zero in mathematics. They had medical things, they had mathematics, they had the concept of zero. They also discovered and helped discover that the world was round as far as astronomy, but they also had literature. So one of the things, big things we have to understand from the Gupta Empire is the fact that they had a centralized government with some local authority. They're primarily based on Hinduism, and along with that, they had many different achievements, right? Sometimes when we think of achievements, we think of just Europeans, but they also had achievements also that they were in what we now know as India today, close to the Indus River Valley civilization from Unit 1. All right, so with the Gupta Empire, you also have the caste system. So the caste system, remember the caste system, that keyword caste is going to talk about like you can't move up or down. All right, can't move up or down within your lifetime. The only time you can move up or down is through reincarnation. All right, reincarnation or rebirth after you die. So what happens is after you die, if you live a good life under the caste system, you move up. If you live the bad life, you move down. And if you look, each of the castes has its own type of thing that they do. So for instance, the top caste, they're the priests and the academics. The lower caste, they're going to be kind of the commoners, the peasants, and the servants. And you have warriors and kings and landowners. And of course, outside of the caste system, you have the untouchables. So make sure you know that the Gupta Empire was all about this caste system. All right, and the only way you move up and down the caste system is through reincarnation. All right, everyone's role was based on the birth. So whatever caste you were born in, that was the caste you were going to die in. All right, you were not going to be socially mobile. By social mobility is saying this is a social pyramid, right? So this is a social pyramid. Being able to move up and down this pyramid was not going to happen. All right, you are not going to be able to move up and down the pyramid. You're going to have to stay in your caste until you're reincarnated after your death. All right, this is what we call a rigid social structure. All right, rigid because it's firm, like a cast on your arm. All right, rigid because it's firm, like a cast that's on your arm. So this is the system really that the Gupta Empire used, since they were based primarily on Hinduism. We're going to review over Hinduism later on within this screencast. Okay, now we're going to skip the Tangan Dynasty. Our last civilization that we talked about, and that was the Islamic achievements. All right, so it's Islamic civilization, if you look here, is in what the current day Middle East is, but also spread into parts of Europe, such as Spain. It's going to go right through here where we call like the Holy Land. And remember, this was the area kind of sort of that whenever they were having the Crusades, they were trying to fight. So let's get to learn a little bit more about the Islamic achievements, okay? So the Islamic achievements were educational. They had a ton of achievements, all right? They translated things in Arabic, all right? They were trying to preserve the Quran. Remember, the Quran is the holy book of Islam. The Quran is the holy book of Islam, okay? They also had many universities, all right, many universities to be able to understand the Quran. You also had astronomy. Astronomy was used in order to like figure out the stars, and geographies, so they knew which direction to pray in, all based on the Quran. You also had math. We were able to create algebra. Islamic civilizations actually created algebra. So if you look in your algebra class and you're like, why am I having to learn this? You can thank the Islamic civilization. Along with that, they also had achievements with medicine. Now note that within the Islamic civilization, a lot of times when we think of achievements, we're again thinking about Europe, right? But we're thinking mostly that a lot of achievements didn't come from Europe. A lot of them come from places like the Gupta Empire, but also the Islamic civilizations. All right, so making sure that we all know that. All right, so other cultural achievements that they were able to do were things like architecture. All right, so this is the Hagia Sophia. You might remember that from the Byzantine Empire, but this is also a mosque. All right, so it was a church and now is now a mosque. And remember, mosque is the place where Islamic people like go and worship. All right, so just make sure we understand kind of the many different achievements from the Islamic civilization. This being kind of the large mosque, and also the fact that they are very focused on the Quran and learning for God's purpose. Okay, so now along with that, we also have the Byzantine Empire. All right, so remember that the Roman Empire split up from the west side, which was a hot mess, and the east side. So the east side is this Byzantine Empire. Remember, the east side is the beast side, which is the Byzantine Empire. So some achievements of the Byzantine Empire. So first of all, we have Justinian's Code. Remember, Justinian's Code is just a law code, all right? Just like the 12 Tables, just like Hammurabi's Code, Justinian Code is a law code, all right? That gave them very strong sense of law and also gave them unity, all right? They had a very strong central government, all right? Because Emperor Justinian wanted complete control. They had a strong central government, and remember, central government means that generally one center entity, one person or one group of people have control over the entire empire. All right. Big things that they also achieved this Byzantine Empire. The reason why we study them and it's important to us is because they were able to preserve Greek and Roman learning and writing and art and literature, and preserve this in order for us to be able to learn now. Because when the West was a hot mess, a lot of that learning was lost and like destroyed in fires, but the Byzantine Empire was able to preserve this for future generations. All right, along with that, it was able to grow Christianity within Eastern Europe and create a government that was pretty much focused on Christianity. All right, it was focused on Christianity of that time period, where Christ and Jesus and God are in the center of their lives, and this is through this super heavily centralized government. Now, something that's not on this slide, but something I'm going to tell you and something we've talked about, is the fact that Russia, which is right here and is off the map, Russia is heavily influenced by the Byzantine Empire. Russia, spelled R-U-S-S-I-A, Russia right here is very heavily influenced by it, which is why Russia today has a strong Christian population, and also is influenced by Greek and Roman architecture and literature and writing. It has a strong central government, i.e. Vladimir Putin. All right, but don't need to worry about that. All we need to worry about and know is that the Byzantine Empire influenced us and preserved us from Greek and Roman art and literature, so we can learn from it today, and also grew Christianity into a big religion at the time period. All right, Byzantine Empire, the beast of the east of Europe. We're going to get into the West, that's the hot mess, later on in the PowerPoint. So medieval achievement. So medieval achievement, we're thinking about medieval Europe. If you go back to here, medieval Europe is this west side, all right? Is this west that's a hot mess. So when we think about medieval achievements, we're thinking about these large churches. All right, if you've seen a church like this, or you might have seen pictures of a church like this, or you're seeing it now, you know that these are large cathedrals. These are extremely large cathedrals, and they follow something called Gothic architecture. All right, and Gothic architecture is just kind of what it looks like right now, right? You have the flying buttresses, you have the large cathedrals, and these large cathedrals are just like large churches. Cathedrals are large churches. So we know because the churches are large that they are really into Jesus and they're really into God. All right, so all of Europe was pretty much really big into God and Jesus. It's just the West was kind of a hot mess about it. All right, the West was a hot mess, and the Byzantine Empire was the beast of it. Okay, overall they didn't experience too much artistic and literary achievement, but we know because of this large cathedral that religion and religious themes was a big portion of medieval achievements. That religion was the center of their lives. Just like all of these other civilizations, religion is the center of their lives, and a lot of their art and literature was all based on religion. All right, so some things that you need to understand about religion, some big things. You have big going through. Sorry about that. Big terms that we need to know. So with Hinduism, you have dharma and karma. All right. So dharma is the right way to live your life, so you can move up the caste system. Remember that caste system of people can't move up or down. All right. That's in India, right? So dharma is the right way to live your life. You do fulfill your role. If you do your dharma, and you end up having good karma, which is the belief that your action in this life will affect your next life. If you have good karma, you move up. If you have bad karma, you're going to move down the caste system. And when we think about the caste system, remember to think about India. All right. So those are some key terms in your study guide that you might need to know and put down so we can kind of review over Hinduism. Now, another key term is what a golden age is. So when we think about a golden age, think about this title, right? It's like gold. It looks very, very nice. A golden age is a time of artistic and intellectual achievement and economic prosperity. By prosperity, it means a good time. You have a lot of money, right? Economic prosperity, we think about economy, we think about money, we think about trade. So that means there's a lot of trade that's happening. There's a lot of art that's happening. There's a lot of intellectual achievements that's happening. This is a golden age that's happening. All right. So remember that during this time period, we talk about different golden ages. So for instance, examples of it, going to flip back through here. The Gupta Empire went through a golden age. It had lots of achievement. The Islamic Empire had lots of achievements. All right, the Byzantine Empire had lots of achievements and strong government. The medieval achievements, they had some achievements, but we don't necessarily consider this a golden age. A golden age has a lot of artistic and intellectual achievements, and we've talked about this in class a ton. So make sure that we just review over those things in your notes. Now, Hammurabi's Code, we talked about this. Remember Justinian's Code? Anytime we talk about code, it's going to be a written law code, right? And Hammurabi's Code was before Justinian's Code, because we know Hammurabi's Code was from Unit 1. Hammurabi's Code is the first written law code, all right, written by King Hammurabi of Mesopotamia. And remember, Mesopotamia is in the Fertile Crescent. Now, where is the Fertile Crescent? All right, right? Fertile Crescent, and we're going to talk about that later on in the time period, okay? So Hammurabi's Code is a law code. The 12 Tables is also a law code. All right, 12 Tables is a written law code created by the Roman Republic. All right, it happened after Hammurabi's Code, but just before Justinian's Code. So when we think about all these law codes, Hammurabi's Code, the 12 Tables, and Justinian's Code, these are all codes of law. They all tell people what to do and how to live in the civilization. All right, now Justinian's Code, we talked about this later, right? Justinian's Code, this is King Justinian, right? We know he's a king because he has a crown and he has a halo, and they thought he was like God. He was holy. He was very close to God. Justinian Code of Law created by Emperor Justinian for the Byzantine Empire. So when you think about Justinian, Justinian's Code is about the Byzantine Empire. So make sure that we kind of understand and know, and make sure we associate those two together. Associate Justinian with the Byzantine Empire, all right, and the fact that this is a code of law. Okay, so we're going to stop. This will be the last thing that we talk about on this video, is this concept of a crossroads of trade. So when we talk about crossroads, we're talking about a place where two roads meet. I'm going to kind of like act this out, right? A crossroads where two roads meet, or an intersection. All right, so a crossroad trade is an area where trade routes of the Silk Road met. So remember the Silk Road that met China with the rest of Europe? This is where all those trade routes meet, is in this area called the Crossroads of Trade. This was the location of the Byzantine Empire. This is the location of the Islamic civilization. And this is the reason why those areas were very, very rich. All right. It linked Asia, Europe, and Africa together. So you see Asia, Europe, and Africa are all linked together by these crossroads of trade. And it made these empires both very wealthy and diverse. By diverse, it means it has lots of variety in the area. So remember that variety, wealthy, diversity, these are all things that happen within a crossroads of trade. I'm going to have video 2 in a second.